Oh, hello. It seems we have a guest. Whatever can I do for you, stranger? Oh, you're curious about my little world down there. I guess I can tell you a little about it. Let's start with its people. They shape the world down there almost as much as I do. Let's see, the world of a Wendigo might be worth exploring. Yes, this one's a good starting point, a journey of discovery and acceptance. Name Revel. Race Wendigo. Sex male. Age 14. Height dire. Shape thick. Magic class none. Occupation none. Affiliation Yuki Club. Urban Hunting Club. Misfits Gang. Charity Club. Clover Family. Marked. Family Jennifer Revel. Cousin Guardian Julian Revel. Cousin Confidant. Parents missing. Presumed deceased. Relationships Oliver Lorden, boyfriend. Corbin Clover, master. Sigmund Bramblethorn, best friend. Luna Whisperwind, friend tutor. Revel is a human variant Wendigo, hailing from Primeverse 2. His introverted and shy nature makes him a mysterious ally. He does his best to help and befriend those he can. However, he isn't as popular as others. This slightly bothers him. But his friends reassure him that he will always stand out to them. He spends most of his time helping the misfits, the gang started by his cousin, acting as a courier. He was also recently brought into the service of the Clover family under Corbin Clover. Background: Ark was born into a pack of Wendigo called the Maskless. These Wendigos had forsaken society, embracing the idea of themselves as feral monsters roaming the land and taking prey as they pleased. This meant living in small, makeshift huts deep in rural areas and constantly being on the move. This also meant abandoning the natural glamours provided to them, called masks, as in their eyes these made them appear too human, unable to entirely leave behind their masks. As they were soul-bound and indestructible, they simply carried them in tight-shut bags. These bags were left in piles at each campsite and swiftly forgotten until they reappeared at their feet whenever they moved too far away from camp. One day, when he was 6, a group of teenagers found their camp. Ark and the other young Wendigos ran and hid in the huts as the pack began to fight, hoping to get whatever scraps were left. When the adults were done, when the sounds of fighting subsided, Ark found himself alone. His parents were either killed in the fight or had abandoned him. Either way, the young Wendigo was terrified. He retreated into the hut, hiding himself and beginning to sob. He was later found by Landon Hittop, who had been sent to investigate the disappearances of the teenagers. Landon raised his gun to shoot Ark, but found he couldn't bear to end an innocent child's life. He searched the camp, finding Ark's mask. He put it on him, though the boy seemed very uncomfortable, likely having never worn his mask before. Ark felt strange with this thing on his face. The world seemed different, bigger, more complicated. For the first time, his hunger was pushed to the back of his mind, making it more manageable. This was a little frightening. Landon explained that where he was going, he would need the mask, so he didn't spook anyone. Ark was still a little confused, but when Landon mentioned he was taking him to a Wendigo family, he immediately brightened up, the mask being a small price to pay to get back to his people. Landon took him into Fairsilver, where he met the Revel family. The couple had 2 children, Julian, who was his age, and Jennifer, who was a little older. However, They didn't act like the pack. They always wore their masks, unless they were hunting or at home, and no guests were in the house. Ark thought they were ashamed of their true faces, so he rescented his mask, seeing it as a cage. He wouldn't wear the mask unless made to by their parents or Jennifer. One day when he was 10, he snapped, screaming that it wasn't fair. If they hated their nature so much, then fine, but they should leave him out of it. Jennifer explained it wasn't that they didn't like their true face. It was because everyone else was afraid of them. If they wanted to live in the city, to go to work and school, they had to seem less scary, and the masks helped with that. This devastated Ark. If he wanted to live in this world with his new pseudo-cousins, he had to pretend to be someone else. No one would ever know his true face, his true nature, and anyone who did would either be food or hate him for his nature. It was a crushing reality for his cousins, though he would play along. Though this colored his view of social interaction, he now noticed the way people shied away from him and his cousins, the way they moved to the opposite side of the hall at school. This depressed Ark, and he began to withdraw. He stopped trying to make friends. Julian, noticing his cousins' dismay at their loathsome treatment, decided to start a group for outsiders like them, people who just didn't fit in for one reason or another. He talked with Ark, and the two decided to call it the Misfits. The group quickly grew, and so did Ark's confidence that he wasn't alone in his misfortune. It's here he met Siegmund Bramblethorn, who marveled at Ark's mask, stating it must be a marvelous hunting technique, when Ark stated it was only a cage and a way to hide the ugly truth. Siegmund vehemently disagreed. He said Ark must be able to get so close to his prey without them ever knowing he is dangerous, explaining that when animals in the woods spot him, they know right away he is a hunter. This makes them run, and chasing them can be exhausting sometimes. But if his prey spotted Ark, they would be none the wiser. He would have no weapon and would appear unassuming. Ark had never imagined his mask in that way, as a form of camouflage, hiding his intentions from his prey. The idea that his mask could be a trick, a lure to let him get in close for an easy kill, intrigued him. When he mentioned this to Julian, he wholeheartedly agreed, admitting he does just that to catch his preferred prey of younger children. This made Ark feel significantly better about his situation, finally accepting his mask as part of himself and understanding why it exists. It's an adaptation to the modern world, allowing them to live unnoticed amongst their prey. This formed a strong friendship between him and Siegmund. When Ark was 12, he met Oliver Lorden when he signed up to do a job for the Misfits, which had become a full-blown gang at this point. One day, when the two were alone in the back of the Falcon, the pawn shop owned by the gang, Oliver asked why he'd never seen Ark without his mask. He stated he'd seen Julian without his during certain jobs, but had never had the opportunity to see Ark hesitant after all the things he had been told by his family. Ark explained that his true form was a bit more twisted, while Julian's true form, being a bone variant, is just a more skeletal version of his glamour. Ark, being a human variant of a Wendigo, has a much more monstrous form. Oliver playfully taunted that he couldn't be that much scarier. Oliver bet Ark he could stand right in front of him without his mask, without flinching. Reluctantly, Ark said that if Oliver failed, he had better treat him to some really good meat. Oliver promised he would take him to the Silver Spoon himself if he lost the bet, but refused to disclose what he would want if he won. Ark removed his mask, and the atmosphere in the room immediately changed. Despite this, Oliver approached, clearly affected, but not backing down or flinching away. True to his word, he stood nose to nose with the unmasked Ark. In a tiny voice, barely above a whisper, Oliver stated he had won and asked if this was evidence enough of his convictions. Ark, his voice eerie and twisted without his mask, asked him what he wanted out of this. His response was to kiss Ark's torn and tattered lips. Thus began a relationship built on a trust that Ark had never believed himself worthy of. When Ark was 13, he was approached by Corbin, a member of the prestigious Clover family. He was recruiting for the upcoming battle between the Clovers and the other 3 families: the Hearts, the Spades, and the Borealis. The 4 families battled each generation for dominance, and the fights were to start again soon. Corbin cited Ark's strategic work in the Misfits and asked for his help. After some discussion with Julian, who encouraged him to branch out and fight for what he felt was right, Ark agreed to be marked and added to Corbin's list of assets for the war. He received the clover-shaped mark on his tongue so that all he consumed knew what he was. He now assists Corbin with his war, but also makes time to help out the Misfits and hang out with Siegmund and his girlfriend, Luna Whisperwind, often going on double dates with Siegmund, Luna, and Oliver. Personality. Ark's formative years as a maskless have profoundly shaped his moral compass and his understanding of his own nature. The bravado and pride he exhibits during hunts are direct carryovers from this time, a period where he was unburdened by societal expectations to conceal his Wendigo instincts. The maskless instilled in him the belief that feeding is a natural act, a necessity shared by all creatures, and that the Wendigo need to consume humans does not inherently make them evil. This ideology, ingrained early in his life, created a stark contrast with the views he encountered in Fairsilver. The realization that his perspective was not universally accepted, that he needed to hide his true nature behind a mask to navigate society, left Ark feeling deeply uncertain. He yearned to be liked and to forge genuine friendships, but questioned the authenticity of any bond formed while concealing a fundamental part of himself. This internal conflict led him to spend much of his time in solitude, unsure how to bridge the gap between his masked persona and his true self. The formation of the Misfit Gang proved to be a turning point. Within this group of fellow outsiders, Ark began to recognize that the core of his being remained consistent, whether behind the mask or not. This realization emboldened him to re-engage with the world, hoping that his willingness to help others would demonstrate that he was more than just a monster. This eagerness to assist those in need is a strong driving force in his actions, which is why, when Corbin approached him with a genuine plea for help in the upcoming conflict, Ark readily agreed. He saw it as another opportunity prove his worth and contribute meaningfully. Siegmund further reinforced his burgeoning sense of self-acceptance by offering a new perspective on his mask, reframing it not as a tool of deception towards his friends, but as a strategic ruse employed only against his prey. Oliver's acceptance became the final piece in Ark's journey towards self-acceptance. Oliver embraced both sides of his nature, even joining him on hunts, dispelling Ark's fear of being inherently frightening. This profound acceptance earned Oliver not only Ark's unwavering trust, but also his deepest affection. Through these relationships and experiences, including his commitment to aid Corbin and the Clover family, Ark has begun to reconcile his maskless upbringing with his life in Fairsilver, learning to navigate a world that often fears what it does not understand, while cherishing those who see beyond the surface and finding purpose in helping those who need it. Appearance. Thank you for these vivid details. I will now expand the appearance section to incorporate them, aiming for a more impactful description. Appearance. In his masked state, Ark's silver hair is kept short, possessing a silky and shiny quality that lends him an almost elegant air. Unmasked, it cascades down his back, long and wild, taking on a darker silver tint that allows him to blend more easily into shadows. His eyes, a striking lava red, maintain a piercing gaze even behind the gunmetal black of his domino mask. These eyes possess an inner glow that intensifies with his excitement or anger. Notably, when particularly hungry, a more feral glint can betray his true nature, even while masked. Without his mask, Ark's lava-red eyes appear sunken, glowing with an intensity akin to flickering coals, sometimes hinting at malice. His mask itself is a study in contrasts, crafted from a soft, silky material that resembles a flesh-like silk. It hugs closely to his face, sharply defined by the gunmetal black that rings his eyes, while leaving the lower half of his face exposed. Despite this partial reveal, the mask works a powerful illusion, altering his entire bodily presence to that of an unassuming and ordinary human, effectively concealing the ghastly visage beneath. Only those who meet his gaze directly might catch a fleeting hint of his true predatory nature, a fact that often leads Ark to avoid eye contact, contributing to his shy demeanor. Unmasked, Ark presents a starkly different image, a twisted, feral being, a horrifying cross between a human and a ghoul. His body bears the marks of a harsh life, covered in scars, and his lips are torn and tattered. Interestingly, this unmasked state seems to affect more than just his appearance. It dampens his usually sharp, strategic mind, making him act more irrationally and impulsively. An aura of palpable malice and terror emanates from his entire being, often rendering his prey frozen in fear. Abilities. Enhanced body. As a Wendigo, Ark's body is naturally designed for hunting prey. This is further enhanced by his years in the wild, fleeing from threats and chasing prey. Due to this, his speed, in particular, is unmatched by his cousins, Smarty Pants. Having had to study not only for educational reasons, he is also well-versed in culture and psychology, subjects he needed to study in order to appear human. After being born as a maskless, he often utilizes this knowledge to assist Julian and Corbin in forming strategies for their respective groups. Camouflage. As a human variant of Wendigo, Ark's mask is exceptionally effective, unlike Julian's mask, which still leaves him with sharp, angular features, or Jennifer, a deer variant, whose glamour still makes her appear as a deer beastkin, necessitating a secondary glamour. Ark appears entirely human when masked. This allows him to walk among even the non-magical without issue, making finding prey far easier. Only his eyes show his true nature, so it's essential he catch his prey once he gets in closer, though he sometimes ignores this, enjoying the chase. He believes it sweetens the meat. That's all there is to see about Dear Ark. I hope you enjoyed his journey to self-acceptance. I know it's one of my favorites. Come back next week, and I'll have another lovely tale for you. Farewell for now, and I hope to see you again soon, dear.